Welcome to my channel, Living Linux. Here I have Fedora 37 on a Raspberry Pi 4. And one of the reasons why I am so interested in Fedora 37 is that they say that they have a working Vulkan driver. So that should help out with the graphics performance. And unfortunately, it doesn't help yet with the video decoding in web browsers. So you still should not expect to play 1080p YouTube in, for instance, like Firefox or Chromium. But with the Vulkan driver, it means that, for instance, AetherSX2 should be able to run on a Raspberry Pi 4. Now, I have seen that someone already had AetherSX2 running on a Raspberry Pi 4 with Android, Constacang, and that seemed to play at a decent frame rate. Unfortunately, with Fedora, I didn't manage a good frame rate yet, but perhaps when things will progress further, then perhaps at some day we might hit 60 frames per second with AetherSX2. So here you can see that there is actually a graphics driver. And you can see it's Fedora 37. We're on Wayland. I already did all the software updates. And I think that's it for now. So I was mainly interested in the Vulkan driver. So yeah, just one last thing. So here we can see we're on kernel 5.19. And yeah, I already did some tests. So one of the other things is that let's test WebGL Aquarium. Well, I get the best performance with Chromium, with Firefox. Perhaps when you change some flags, yeah, you might also get some performance like 30 frames per second with 500 fishes, but so far I think with Firefox you're at, let's just say, half of the frame rate. So, but I guess as a start, 30 frames per second, 500 fishes, that's not bad. Although I have to say that, for instance, on my Samsung Chromebook Plus with the Rockchip RK3399, which is of course a different processor than the one in the Raspberry Pi 4, but there are people that say that they have like roughly similar performance. So on the Samsung Chromebook Plus, you can get 60 frames per second with 500 fishes. So from that perspective, I have the feeling that we should still be able to squeeze out some more with some more optimizations. But for now, I think this is better than what you get with, let's just say, mainline Linux, with most of the others. Yeah, so I already downloaded AetherSX2, so you can go to the desktop version, and in our case we go for Linux. And then here is one of the known issues. If you're using a Raspberry Pi 4, you have to use the Vulkan renderer because they need OpenGL GLS 3.2. So let's see, when we have our terminal still here. So I already have AetherSX2 downloaded. Oh, oops. And I have to go to my downloads directory. So, and then I got this message that it can't find this shared library. So I searched around for it, and then they said like, okay, this is one of the things you can try to make a symbolic link. So there we go. And when we try it now, then you can see that it starts. And when we go to the settings, graphics, then you can see that we can choose Vulkan. You have to use the Video 3D 4.2 adapter. And yeah, I tested R-Type and I tested Final Fantasy X. Yeah, it's not good enough to get 60 frames per second. So, well, just for this demo, we'll just go. That will try to get to 100% normal speed without any frame skip or cycle skip, as they call it. Yeah, from what I've seen so far is that it looks like that anything that is 3D is actually easier to emulate than anything that is, let's just say, more like 2D graphics like R-Type. That's giving a lot of issues. So it's actually better to show Final Fantasy X than R-Type. So here we go with Final Fantasy X. So here you can notice that the frame rate is dropping a bit. So yeah, when you don't want to use cycle skip or any other things like lowering the resolution, then it's not good enough to have like a nice experience with AetherSX2. But Well, I think the good part is that it is possible now to start AetherSX2 on mainline Linux on a Raspberry Pi 4 with Fedora 37. And who knows that we will get some more optimizations in the future. So yeah, here you see this text effect that is really killing the performance. So this was just like a quick demo that Vulkan is working on the Raspberry Pi 4 on mainline Linux. Yes, unfortunately, it's not good enough for PS2 emulation yet on mainline Linux. When you really want to do it, then you probably are better off looking at Constacang Android. I also did a quick try to get ppsspp working, but unfortunately I ran into some problems with all the packages that need to be installed, so I have to look into that a bit more. So who knows that once I have ppsspp working, that we can compare the performance of OpenGL and Vulkan. So this is all for now, and I hope to see you again in my next video.